This is the story of how Generations AdventurePlex went from an idea to becoming the amazing reality that it is. I start with this scripture because it really describes in one sentence what our journey has been. It comes from Proverbs in the Bible, and as you can see, it says, a man, or woman in my case, plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. And our plan began with a prayer request in my journal. I journaled a lot, and I communicated with God via writing because I'm most focused that way. And in September 2015, I entered this prayer to own my own business. And as you can see, it is littered among a ton of other requests, that some other things that have also happened as well, but we'll focus on this one. Maybe 8 or 9 months later, I decided that, I remember I had this desire, haven't really done anything with it. Even God can't steer a parked car. That's what I like to say. I'm sure he could, but I decided to put some action behind my desire. And in April 2016, I sent this text message to a friend. Kind of the gist of it is, hey, I want to start working on a business plan. He was in a business management program, so I thought he would be the perfect person to help. I reached out, and he questioned me a little on this, and I'm glad he did, because now I have a memory record of how this started. And he asked me what I wanted to do, and I stated here I want to open a family-oriented recreation center. And he says, that's a great idea. I can do some research. Let's talk later. Where did this idea come from? And, then I went into my origin story, which I really hadn't even thought about. But it was when I was a kid. We had rec centers that we went to that had arts and crafts and really cool things for kids. And I really wanted to do something like that for communities that had something for everyone. Adults, grandparents, grandkids, where the whole family could go into one place and find something really special for themselves and be able to spend the day together in one place. So he responds here, that's a great vision. That would be amazing. Totally willing to help you. So 1 month later, it gets real. I have an encounter with Jesus, what I believe is an encounter with Jesus during a church service. I worship right across the street from where Generations is. I had no idea that that's where we were headed. My church, Christian Life Center of South Bend, was having an amazing worship and praise experience like they always do. During that experience, I was worshiping God with all my heart. My eyes were closed, my hands were lifted up, and I was just pouring out my heart to God and really wanting to recommit my life as a more dedicated believer. And as my eyes were closed, I saw kind of the outline or image of a hand that was extending behind the figure. I couldn't really see a person. I just saw the hand as if it was a hand that was behind someone. And I had the impression that it was the hand of Christ, and it was saying, follow me. And in my spirit, I said yes, and I believe I uttered the words yes. That of course no one could hear me or was, kind of in their own zone at that time. And so at the end of that service, I felt like, I had this amazing experience with God, and, I don't know where he's going to take me, but it's going to be somewhere amazing and maybe even sacrificial, something like super spiritual. I was not anticipating what happened next. So enter persistent little kid, as you can see in this video, super sweet. This young man's name is Xavier, and he was one of the children in church that routinely pestered me about coming over my house almost every time I saw him. So my house is the fun house, and all the kids want to come over and play. And this was like after I had this amazing experience with God. So, I'm thinking I'm gonna, fly off into the clouds or something. This kid's like, hey, I want to come over to your house. And I'm like, no, I want to go home. I want to relax. I want to sort of soak in what happened today. And so he persisted. And I have to say, I'm glad that he did. He begged and begged. And I said, you know what? If you come over to my house, there's not going to be any playing going on. You are going to be working hard. You're going to be outside in the yard. You're going to be pulling up weeds, all of this. And he says, he squeezed my hand really tight and said, I'm strong. I can do it. I can work hard. And so, of course, I melted and said, all right, you can come. But so then he brings a crew with him. So a couple other kids come over. My son's there. And so they work super hard outside, and it is hot. It's like, I like to say color purple hot, and they're like out there sweating and nobody's complaining and they're working really hard. So at the end of that, I utter the words that I regretted the minute that they came out of my mouth. And that was, you guys have been so good. What do you want as a reward? Would you like to go to the movies? Do you want to go to get pizza? Or do you want to go to the skating rink? And they start screaming, we want to go skating. So I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta go to the skating rink on a Sunday afternoon and I have to go to work tomorrow. Oh, okay, well, you guys worked hard. I'm gonna drop you off at the skating rink and I'll come back for you. So I take them to USA Skating Rink. This is, wasn't from this area, but USA has been this like iconic skating rink. It's been like probably one of the first structures ever built for entertainment in Mishawaka 40 years ago. It has an incredible history and legacy. And so we went there, and I intended to drop them off, but because I'm a softie, I'm like, well, I'll just go in with you for a little while. And I end up buying them all these toys and stuff. And then I get skates and we're skating and we're going around, and it's like super fun. So at the end of this session, they make an announcement. This announcement was kind of one of the pivotal things that happened in the grand scheme of this. They announced that they were closing. This is the same day. Now recall, 10 o'clock a.m., I have this spiritual experience, me and Jesus, and then 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the kids are pulling up weeds. I don't get any me time. And then we're at the skating rink the same day, and they announced that they're closing.
Another Mishawaka business also closing its doors. USA Skate Center on Main Street closing after 40 years. WSBT 22's Hillary Powell is here. And Hillary, this is affecting lots of families.
Rick owner Ken Wall tells me since posting the news on Facebook, his phone won't stop ringing. Even when I tweeted the news, one viewer, Ariana McGee, wrote, my childhood. The owner is 75. He's retiring and plans to sell the building. He says it's a family business. His parents started in the 70s. Workers tell me they've taught thousands of kids to skate over the years, and that's who they'll miss the most.
But when you're here, when you come to a rink like this, you're in a family environment.
Unfortunately, I think somebody will buy it out, probably like a hotel or something. Unfortunately, I think it'll get demolished. I hate to say it, I'd love to keep it a skating rink.
Jennifer, no formal offer has been made on that building just yet.
Right, Hillary, thank you.
I didn't really hear what they said, but some kid came and sat next to me, heard what they said or whatever, and I kind of muttered, what did they say? Did they say they were closing? And this kid's like, oh yeah, they're closing. The owner doesn't have any kids, and he's moving, and he's selling the place to a hotel. And I'm thinking, this kid's 12 years old. I'm like, how do you know that? But I was like, oh, that's awful. I was like, what if someone wanted to keep it open? And he said, well, you should go talk to this guy. And he pointed to a manager. So I went over to the manager and I said, hey, what if, why are you guys closing? What if I could get some people together and to keep it open? Like, we need things in our community for, for families. And so he said in the beginning, no, there's no way he's going to sell it to you. He's going to sell it to this hotel that is across the street. It was like the Hilton Hotel. Like, we're going to sell it to them. It's going to make way more money. He'll never sell it to you. So I started to walk away, and then he called me back and said, hey, no, but you should come and talk to him anyway. He'll be here on Wednesday. So I'm thinking to myself, which is it? are you going to sell it to somebody else? You're not selling it to me, but anyway, so I'm like, I believe that was God saying, he was like, oh no, call her back. So I came back later that week, met with the owner, Ken Wall, and let me just tell you, this man is like, I mean, melts my heart even to this day talking about him. He became sort of my, my Yoda. I spent hours and hours with him saying, here's what I want to do. We can get some people together. We can keep it open, and we'll make it better. We'll renovate. We'll add laser tag. We'll do all these cool things. And he was so gracious. Like, he listened to me. He took me seriously. I don't know why he would, with someone with no experience and just a bunch of ideas. And he became a very good friend and a mentor, and really just started showing me the ropes for the entertainment industry. And I learned a ton. But in the midst of this all, right? So this is kind of, what am I doing here? Like, I don't have any experience in this. I really didn't have any money to do a multi-million-dollar renovation of a building. I didn't have any investors. I really didn't. I just had a vision. But I believed that because so many doors had been opening really supernaturally, I thought, and I knew that God was in this. I was very careful about who I shared anything with. There's a story in the Bible about Joshua and Caleb, and these two gentlemen were fervent believers that God could do anything, and they lived amongst a group of people who kind of saw circumstances as bigger than God. And so those other folks talked basically their whole community out of moving into some land that God had intention on giving them. And so I felt like God spoke that to my heart, like, be a Joshua, be a Caleb, trust me and where I'm leading this. And I really didn't know where this was going, but I knew it was one of my heart's desires, and that it was sort of like supernaturally happening. So I just kept walking through the next open door. I talked to my pastor. I told a couple of my friends about not the supernatural part, but just kind of like, hey, I'm thinking about buying a skating rink. And of course they were all like, okay, that sounds fine. That's a good idea. One of those friends in particular, a little different. And when I say Joshua and Caleb, I think we're kind of the Joshua and Caleb in this group. He had never been out to Mishawaka, had only heard me say that, I think God's doing something really weird here. Like, this dream, this prayer that I had, is like, it's really like something's happening. And so he prayed about it, and he said, you know what, I'm with you. We're going to do this. And so he has continued to pray. He's invested his time, his money. Thank you for that if you're listening. And tons of other things. I like to say he prayed, he invested, and he changed his tires in a 3-piece suit. So that's very, very right, my business partner. And I would not, I don't even know where we would be without him. In the course of this process, it's been pretty incredible. So fast forward a few months, I spend a lot of time studying the industry, learning from Ken Wall and others. I have financing mentors. We have a bank basically is saying, okay, we'll give you the money and we believe in your plan, and you guys seem pretty sharp. You're doing your research, you're doing everything we're asking you to do, and you're learning, and we think that you're gonna have what you need to do this. So we spent a lot of time with this, and then we get a big disappointment. Probably in December of that same year, the USA deal falls through for a variety of reasons. It's disappointing, but I think at that point we had seen enough of God to know that this was not a wasted experience. We had gained a ton. We had lost what appeared to be something, but we had gained a lot of wisdom. We had a bank that most people don't have a bank going into deals like this, who said, hey, yeah, we're gonna fund this project for you. I had a business partner who was amazing and believing, and a prayer warrior, and then along the way we picked up a couple of other investors, believers, who just really saw the vision too. And mind you, if you go out there now, it's a really beautiful, huge building. But at this time, there was nothing. It was just an idea on a piece of paper. At that time, it really, 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 really was a walk of faith for people who were just kind of on the outside saying, I can see where you're headed with this, and we believe in it. The deal fell through, as I mentioned, and but in talking to the bank, I said, you know what, this is a really viable plan that we've developed for this family entertainment center for this market. So I'm just gonna keep looking. We have kind of a budget. Let me just see if I can find another site for this business. Again, supernaturally came across a piece of property that I didn't know what prime real estate was, but this is prime real estate. It was in a location that is ideal for facilities like this. It's right next to the Cinemark 14 movie theater. Luxury seating, by the way, one of my favorite movie theaters, plug for them. So a lot of family entertainment centers have complexes where there's a movie theater and there's a fun center, and so we didn't even know. We just looked at the price and said, okay, this is in our budget, let's go for it. The sellers, the Cressy Foundation, amazing, super supportive, super helpful, able to stage out our purchase so that we were able to buy more land than we had anticipated. We thought we were only going to get half of the lot, and we ended up getting the full 3 acres, which is allowed us to build it out spectacularly. We've had tons and tons of help in this town. So now our concept has grown to what is now Generations AdventurePlex. Super amazing compared to where we started. Has a ton of stuff. Like, I never thought we would have as many attractions on the scale that we had. I thought, yeah, we'll start small, we'll make it classy, and then we'll sort of expand incrementally over time. But we also had another divine entry into our lives, which was Mid-States Construction. Amazing builder, Don Sham, has been honestly a godsend. From day one, had been introducing cost-saving ideas, ways that we can elevate the appearance of the building, get ourselves more space, more of the wow effect that we wanted. We wanted people to come in and see this facility and have their jaws just drop on the ground and be like, wow, this is incredible. And he's doing that. So we hope that this will be one of many, and that they will stick with us and help us build out a few more of these across the country, continue to work with us. So this is our logo. It is a way that we wanted to honor God with our logo, because God has we wouldn't be here without him. Like, that's the bottom line. We would not be here without him. Like, none of this would be possible. We didn't have the resources for this. We didn't have the network for this. God sent us another partner who, I don't know if he wants to be identified, but his first name's Joe, and he has been phenomenal as well. Like, he knows how to save money in various areas. He's so knowledgeable about construction and business enterprise and all these other things. So just the team that we have is super solid. Jack Vermillion is now our Chief Operating Officer, that found us on Facebook, if you can believe that. So usually, you search for months and months and try to find the right person. He has tons of experience already. He's super passionate about the project. He can deliver guest service experience on the level of a Four Seasons hotel, which is what we want. He found us. So we're just grateful to God for all of the many, many, many blessings. And I have to say, it has been completely independent of ourselves. We like to say in spite of ourselves, because we haven't been the best behaved throughout this process, but thank God for his mercy, because our 2 foundational scriptures that sort of we modeled our logo after are, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. And our original logo was an earth with a circle around it, but nobody really liked that. So we went with the elements of the earth, the wind, fire, water, and the things that God created that just belong to him. And we are the generation that seek him and that follow him. So we wanted to honor that origin in the way we operate and the way we identify ourselves with our logo. And finally, this is just the beginning of a pretty exciting journey. We're not really even sure where this is all going. We are still committed to following Jesus and trying to showcase his character in the way we engage and the way we love people. We are having a cloud of witnesses that are people who've gone ahead of us to be with the Lord, who we know are in the stands cheering for us, and particularly our mothers, Barry and my own, who've gone ahead of us, Margaret Crutherd and Kimberly Wright. So we're excited about where we started. Again, this is just the beginning. We hope that we will bring an experience that honors God and delivers to the community. We know we're not going to be perfect and we're going to make mistakes, but that's life. You know, we try to learn and we try to grow. And I just hope this encourages other people who have ideas and dreams and things that seem like this would be impossible to do, to just take those steps of faith and trust God with them. And if He can do it for us, He can do it for anybody, because we are absolutely kind of the least likely to be running a place like this. So thank you for watching.